Hello trader, welcome to another weekly forex podcast for the last week of the March 2025. As past week was quite significant, we have seen FOMC as well as high impact news on JPY. That was really market mover, and we have seen that there was a significant movement in all the instrument including gold and USD pairs. Now upcoming week is the last week, and as last week coming up, we can expect again another volatile week, followed by also we'll see the first week of the month, also NFP week. So pretty exciting week coming up, and would like to see that again some better trading opportunity throughout the week. So there is a short list here, guys. We can see that DXY, Euro dollar, British pound US dollar, NCD USD, AUD USD, gold, GBP JPY, and dollar yen. These are, we will be looking to see what kind of trading opportunity we may see throughout the week from day trading as well as the swing trading perspective. So first of all, I'll begin with DXY to see what kind of trading opportunity we may have, and then we will be looking at one by one to see how we can trade them. Now before I progress further, traders, make sure you give a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done yet. So let's begin this week's weekly Forex forecast. Okay traders, so first of all we will be looking at DXY as usual, and let's first look at bigger picture monthly. Now, as you know, that you will not be trading on the monthly, but when we look at the monthly, we can see bigger picture that helps us to understand the lower time frame price actions, especially the directional bias, which is very important when we are entering into the trade. So especially this monthly candle on DXY is quite significant. You can see this is almost nearly to the end of the month. If we look at in the beginning of the month, what happened, as when you look at the beginning, we might see the ending as well. There was a gap open, and on MT4 that we could see on TradingView, you see there's a weakless candle. So that was the beginning of a strong bear market here on DXY, and this candle is huge bearish candle. After such a bear candle, less likely that DXY will be able to straight away bounce back up. Instead, what I think that, as you can see, there is a long wick at the bottom from the monthly. After the pullback, we can expect DXY again to drop back to the support level. So in the beginning of the week, what I think that maybe on Monday, Tuesday, we might see the upside, grab liquidity, and then to fill that some of this long wick at the bottom from the monthly time frame. Now, if we drop down to the weekly chart, we can see a little clearer picture here. First of all, looking at this one here, this is a strong drop here from the weekly, followed by past week we saw a narrow doji formation. Now this current weekly candle, if we look at the support, we need to see both support and resistance to see in fact which way the buyers or sellers taking control in the market. Now support here, we saw that in the past there was a huge move in from that level. There is a lot of stop loss in that area from the buyers that has been triggered. You can see back to back 2 weeks the market ranged in that zone on the lower time frame. So those stop loss has given a little potential momentum to the upside. So therefore, as with this weekly close, also the candle close above this previous weekly high, so there could be some upside here from the weekly to the resistance line before it drop back down again to that support level. Now if we look at the daily chart on DXY, where we can see that this is the daily price action, which is quite important, as we see the back-to-back 3 days the market had a bounce, which is 3 days green move, followed by we can see the market is potentially going back up to the level where there is a daily 20 MA, and also the market has crossed this high here. So this is a high liquidity zone from the daily perspective, expecting DXY to potentially, what I think that, to continue to bounce, and there are probable scenario that it might even reverse. That's the question. What I think that it is less likely to reverse straight away like that. Instead, we, even if with the new monthly open, if it wants to reverse back again to the resistance line, it needs to range before it changes trend. And if first 1 or 2 days if we see that DXY is still maintaining that bullish move here, then we could see that all these green candle hit an important level where there is a liquidity. Daily 20 MA, we may see that later, middle of the week or end of the week, the market again coming back here to that support level. So from that point of view, if you look at the 4-hour chart on DXY, we can see the market in that lower time frame as it is currently trending locally. We can expect for the price to potentially move back up, grab the liquidity, and then to drop down again to that support level. This is the level this is the wave that we can expect on DXY, as above this zone there is a huge fair value gap, and the market may still not be fully prepared to bounce again to fill that long wick without grabbing enough liquidity, and that could be the weekly zone that we might see for the upcoming week on DXY. Now, based on that, if we look at the euro dollar, that as DXY is just a mirror of euro dollar. If we look at monthly on euro dollar, we can see that this is the monthly price action where just the mirror of DXY. We saw that on euro dollar the gap open is quite prominent here. There was a massive gap opening on euro USD, and with that gap open, the market has formed that narrow long wick at the top on euro USD. And what we can expect now for the price to potentially drop a little further and then bounce back up to fill that long wick at the top. Now, if we look at the weekly perspective on euro dollar, we can see that from the weekly, this is the weekly impulse followed by weekly narrow green candle formation. And if we closely look at again, here is the resistance where there is a liquidity zone. The market grabbed the liquidity from this bearish engulfer. From the weekly perspective on euro dollar, what we can expect, as you can see, it's a full rejection from the top, expecting on euro dollar to trend further again in that direction and then grab the liquidity and then potentially bounce back up. So this is the same mirror level that we can look at in contrast to the euro USD. You can see this is a support level on euro dollar from the weekly, expecting further drop, grab liquidity, and then bounce back up to create a new higher high. So if we look at the daily, we can see that from that resistance there is straight 3 days of red candles, and which is approaching that support level where there is a doji, and below this doji you can see back to back 3 huge green candle, and without proper retest and of the resistance, what I think that less likely the market will be able to break like that, as there has been a huge buying pressure happen, and this is a very strong buyer's zone. To break this zone, it needs to completely change the trend and then to drop again. So to change the trend, what I think that it requires further range or potentially bouncing back up again. So for this week, if we consider, then we might see a drop and then bounce to fill that zone. So looking at the 4-hour chart on euro USD, we can see that in this lower time frame from the 4-hour perspective, here is the important level. This is a support level here, expecting a retest and then bounce back up to create a new higher high. So this could be the wave and the zone on euro dollar for the upcoming week. As soon as we will find suitable entry, we can look for entry opportunity in those area based on this wave formation for the upcoming week. Now, looking at British pound US dollar, we can see that monthly price action almost similar to euro dollar, and with that monthly candlestick pattern formation, massive bullish candle, we saw the big drop, 2 months bullish price action on GBPUSD. We can expect that the market to continue to rise again to create a new higher high. So any drop can give us potential bullish opportunity on GBPUSD. Now, if we drop down to the weekly on British pound US dollar, we can see that the trend is again prominent here. from here. This is an impulse, deeper correction, another impulse correction, and it is in after this impulse. So you can see that on GBPUSD has formed this long wick candle, which is a weekly doji formation. And with that weekly doji on British pound US dollar, what we can expect is for the market to break any of this low. And as we can see, they still maintaining the weekly series of higher low formation, expecting for the market to potentially break below. Okay, so we can see that potentially break below, and what I think that it may respect this support, and in between that is a potential buying zone for this upside for the upcoming week. So in the beginning of the week, if we see that drop to that in between that zone, we can look for buying opportunity in this market. Now if we look at the daily chart on GBPUSD, we can see that from the daily, this is the daily bearish candle followed by another big bear candle on the daily, and there is a long wick here on the daily. So what we can expect on GBPUSD after the initial pullback to come back here, fill that long wick, and below this level, as I mentioned, is a quite important zone. In between that, as you can see, this is the daily 20 MA. Once the market will start to drop here, the price also, the 20 M also may ascend here to that zone here, and that's where we could see a retest and then potential bounce back up to the daily resistance line here in that area. So looking at the 4-hour chart here on GBPUSD, we can see that in this lower time frame, locally some bearish move. The market was grabbing liquidity, dropping down, grabbing liquidity, dropping down. So that's the sign that it might still be dropping down here. And as it's a very strongly bull market, guys, I'm not going to look for any selling opportunity. But what I think that if we see the market has dropped here, and that could be the wave for the upcoming week on British pound US dollar, and always it is better to trade with the trend. So now let's look at how NZD-USD might be doing here. Looking at monthly, now NZD-USD and also the AUD-USD, both of them will be looking in the same lens, and both of them we can see that if we look at here on NZD-USD from the monthly, after the previous monthly doji formation from the support level, there is a huge bounce with a long wick at the top, and as it is a bullish market, we could see that NZD-USD after a pullback, the bouncing back up to the resistance line where there is a 20 EMA. Now if we look at the weekly chart on NZD-USD, we can see that from the weekly perspective, this is the weekly doji here, quite important, and this weekly candle is a very strong rejection from the top that might lead that price to drop further. As there is a rejection, we could see some reaction in that direction. But at the same time, if we look at this weekly, 2 weekly low here, and they are also creating series of higher low. So any break below, and either from this support or in between that support on NZD-USD, we could see the market is again moving back again to the upside. Now if we look at the daily chart here on NZD-USD, we can see that from the daily, this is the daily bearish engulfer. Last day of trading week also a red bearish candle, and we can expect in this market for the price to come back here, grabbing that liquidity and then bouncing back up to create a new higher high. So looking at the 4-hour chart on NZD-USD, we can see that in this lower time frame, this is an important level, a big drop, pullback, another drop. So we see that it's still maintaining a downtrending market structure here on NZD-USD, and in the downtrend we may see that potential continuation from that level to that support level, and that could be the potential wave for the upcoming week on NZD-USD. Now let's look at AUD-USD. Let's see what kind of trading opportunity we have in this market. Looking at monthly chart on AUD-USD, we can see that from the monthly, this is the monthly price action on AUD-USD, and there is a long wick candle here on the monthly with a gap open. And with this monthly long wick on AUD-USD, what we can expect is that as this market, if you guys look at it, you can see from the monthly, there was a huge bounce and then immediate rejection on the monthly on AUD USD. We might see after a pullback potential further continuation to the direction of the trend. So if we look at the weekly here, what we see that there was a bounce here this week, and the market has crossed this weekly low, okay, and formed that bearish candle. What we can expect this week for the price potentially to break below and in between this support and resistance where there is a liquidity. If we look at this is the weekly support here, and also there is another weekly support here. We can expect for this market to potentially break below, grab the liquidity, and then bounce back up to create a new higher high. So looking at a daily chart here on AUD USD, we can see that from the daily, this is where there was a big drop here from the daily, and where we can see that on AUD USD, in fact, was respecting this trend line, and this is a very important support here on AUD USD. So this is a support here, a strong bounce pull back to that support, and the bounce pull back to the support, and we can see the market is again approaching that support level, and that's where we could see the price is retesting that support and then trending again to create a new higher high. So looking at the 4-hour chart here, where the market is from this support level, we can expect is the market to drop again, and that's where we could see that reaction, as in the past we saw the market in fact reacted to that level, either from this support level or breaking that low and then potentially bouncing back up to the resistance line. So this could be the wave for the upcoming week on AUD USD, and we could see the similar wave on NZD USD coming down here, grabbing the liquidity, and then to potentially bounce back up to create a new higher high. So now let's look at on XAU USD. Now this instrument was quite volatile past week. We see that there is a 4-hour long week candle here. There is a huge breakdown last session of the trading week last week, and that's where we see that there is a buying pressure again. So let's see first of all bigger picture to see where the market is heading to. Now if we look at the long-term picture in this market, we can see that this is a strongly bull market, no doubt about it. You can see the market from the monthly, the price is trading above 10 EMA for quite a few months, still maintaining that, and previous month we saw a long week candle, and this month open with a gap, and we see the price is still going up to create a new higher high from the monthly perspective, and we may see that potential continuation to the upside to create a new higher high. So looking at the weekly chart on XAU USD, we can see that this is where the breakdown picture of this bullish trend. We saw there was a breakup structure. If we closely look at those breakup structure here, we saw that whenever the market breaking from the trend, strong buying pressure. So this is the biggest one that we saw a couple of weeks. The market has formed this inverted head and shoulder here, and then a strong breakout. So this is where the momentum gain on XAUUSD, and we saw that this is the weekly drop here. This is quite important as the market has broken against the trend, and then the price has made its move to the upside. Now what we can see that this is the weekly price action here, where the price completely has broken this weekly resistance, closed above with a weekly bullish engulfer. Now last week, this is the closed candle with a long wick at the top in that market. So what I think that the opportunity may come again, as we might see that weekly perspective, the candle to go up and fill that long wick and potentially to continue to the long-term trend. And with this drop currently, we see that the market already has made a pullback, so we can expect, we can consider this weekly candle is a move and then pull back, and to have another move to the upside for this weekly perspective. Now dropping to the daily chart, this is the last day of trading week, and if we compare the green candlestick patterns, so we see that full body closed with a full volume in it. So that's the sign the bulls were very strong. And if we look at those red candle, we see there is a very long wick candle. So that means that whenever the market is coming to that area of value, the buyers is buying. When the buyers are buying, the market is likely to bounce again to the upside here. Now if we look at the 4-hour chart here, this is where interesting that there was a break of structure. Now if we look at the ATR of this break of structure, we see that this is a significant zone here. There is 150 pip ATR in that candle. So if we look at the volatility of this candle, you can see that it's almost 372 pip volatility of this candle, which is more than 2.5 ATR move that we have seen. So at 2.5 ATR move here to that previous resistance, turning support here, and we see that ultimately candle closed with a almost 1/3 of the candle with a long wick. So there has been significant buying pressure followed by another green candle here. So that's the sign that this is a false breakdown, and we may see that the market is potentially trending to the upside, as there has been a break of structure, false breakdown. We could see now the buyers might try to take that price to at least to the resistance or to create a new higher high. So this week we can expect another 350 pip or 400 pip potential move, or even further to the upside on this instrument. So if we look at the 15 minutes for potential entry for short term, as with the weekly opening here, and with weekly opening, any drop here can give us potential buying opportunity, as what I think that in the first session or first day we may see that XAUSD potentially bouncing back to that liquidity zone here. There is a neckline, this is a previous resistance here, and also the resistance here. So any break of structure here on XAUSD can give us potential bullish opportunity. So this could be potential opportunity for the upcoming week. Here you can see this is the 15 minutes trend here, which is a local bullish trend. So the market is breaking from any of this structure can give us that bullish opportunity on XAUSD. And at the same time, once we see the market here, this is another important zone that you can see here. The price was respecting this series of higher low. If the price managed to break here, and from that zone we could see potential continuation to the upside, and throughout the week we might see that zone is important. We could see that in the beginning of the week going back up here, sideways movement, or even coming again for a pullback, and then potentially at the end of the week to move back up to the resistance. So this could be the movement or trajectory to move on XAUSD. And also, as you know that guys, every single day I'm posting a lot of content on the channel, so make sure you subscribe and also stay connected by joining. Also, if you want to know how we are trading, as we trade a lot on XAUSD, on gold every single day in our VIP group as well, there is currently 95% discount going on. You can find link below this video. You can visit the website www.forextradingwizard.com, join here to see how I'm trading, and as I share all my trades in the VIP community with all the strategies as well as all the details of the trade, why it was open and what is the reason behind the trade. So with that said, let's look at now JPY pairs, how they might be doing here. Now looking at JPY, we can see that this is the monthly chart on JPY, and from the monthly perspective to see overall picture in this market, we can see that from the monthly, this is the resistance line here on JPY. There is a big drop here, and with the drop this is where there is a long wick on the monthly on JPY, and from this support level we saw that there was a bounce here so far. And as this current monthly candle, you can see there's a long wick at the bottom. We might see that after retest the price to come back again to fill that zone here, and therefore this week we could see some bearish move to recover some of this zone here on the monthly. As in the beginning of the month there is a drop, now we see that pullback. We can expect further pullback in that direction before it bounce back up again for the long-term direction. Now if we look at the weekly chart here, what I think that you can see is looking at this weekly bearish engulfer here, and that bearish engulfer from the weekly is quite significant, as you can see, it has crossed this high from a huge red bearish engulfer, followed by, this is the weekly candle, and also there is another weekly long wick candle here. And with that weekly long wick candle, we can see that there is a long wick here. If you guys look at it, you can see this is a massive long wick candle on the weekly. And with that long wick candle, what I think that this week we might see that the market potentially coming here to that support level where there is a high liquidity zone in that area from the weekly perspective. Now dropping down to the daily chart here on dollar yen, we can see that from the daily, this is the daily local uptrend pullback, another impulse pullback, and we could see that from the daily perspective on dollar yen, we can expect for the market to retest and then to potentially drop back again to that support level on dollar yen. Now looking at the 4-hour chart here, we can see that from this lower time frame, this is a quite important level here. Now you can see this is a resistance line here on dollar yen, and with that local price action from this level, you can see this is a big drop here, and the market is forming series of higher low here. And what we could see that on dollar yen, for the market to potentially to retest and then to bounce back up, grab the liquidity, and then to drop back again to that support level. This could be the potential wave for the upcoming week on dollar yen. Now let's look at GBP JPY. Now looking at monthly here on GBP JPY, we can see that from the monthly perspective on GJ, there was a monthly doji formation, followed by, we can see the market has formed series of higher low here on the monthly, and there's a long wick at the top on GBP JPY. What we can expect is for the market to potentially go up to fill that wick and then to drop again. And this is the monthly price action, bigger picture. What we could see that in this monthly price action, let's see what kind of opportunity we might see from the weekly perspective on GJ. Now you can see that back-to-back 4 weeks upside here. Last week of the month, there is a long wick pin bar here. Now this weekly candle, if we look at the high of this weekly candlestick pattern, we can see the market has crossed this high, and after cross of this high, it grabbed the liquidity from this long wick pin bar. And with that pin bar on GJ, what we can expect is for the price to potentially to drop further in that direction to that support level here on GBP JPY. And what we could see that ultimately the market is coming here, grabbing that liquidity and then dropping back down. Now if we look at the daily chart here on GBP JPY, what we can see that from the daily, this is the daily impulse here, a big impulse followed by this pullback, and we can see there is another impulse here followed by pullback. So the market locally on GJ is potential, it's in an uptrend here, and we can see there is a narrow doji formation here on GJ, and with that doji formation, we can expect GJ to potentially retest and then to drop again in that direction. So looking at the 4-hour chart on GBP JPY, what we can see that in this lower time frame here, this is a strong bull move followed by a narrow doji formation on GBP JPY. What we can expect is for the market to retest and then to potentially drop again to that support level. This could be the potential wave for the upcoming week on GBP JPY. Traders, I hope that you enjoyed this education and analysis for this weekly Forex forecast. If you enjoyed, make sure you give a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done yet. Thank you, and I'll see you soon in my next analysis.